12,800 years ago, something struck Earth from space, triggering global catastrophe.
Advanced civilizations may have thrived before impact. The survivors called it the Great Flood.
Temperatures plunged 15 degrees in decades. Continent-sized wildfires. Ice sheets collapsed into oceans.
What if human history is far older? What if we have forgotten our own apocalypse?
Welcome to Sapiens Untold. If you enjoy these explorations of humanity's mysteries, please like and subscribe. Where are you listening from tonight? It's dawn at Göbekli Tepe in southeastern Turkey, and you're standing among 11,000-year-old megaliths that shouldn't exist. The cool morning air carries the scent of dry earth as you gaze upon colossal T-shaped pillars, some weighing up to 20 tons, intricately carved with enigmatic animals, vultures, scorpions, snakes, rising from a landscape that feels impossibly ancient. These structures predate the accepted timeline for settled human civilization by thousands of years, pushing the very definition of what we believed Stone Age hunter-gatherers were capable of. You run your hand along the rough, sun-warmed stone, contemplating the precision required to quarry, transport, and erect these monumental works with no known metal tools. Mainstream archaeology attributes Göbekli Tepe to a sophisticated cult of hunter-gatherers, but alternative researchers ponder if it's far more. This site's earliest layers date to around 11,600 years ago, placing its construction before or during a pivotal and catastrophic period in Earth's history, the Younger Dryas event. Imagine, if you will, a world suddenly plunged back into an ice age. Geological evidence suggests that around 12,800 years ago, a cosmic impact, a comet or asteroid fragment, struck Earth. This event is hypothesized to have triggered a global cataclysm, initiating a catastrophic climate reversal in mere decades. Temperatures plummeted by up to 15 degrees Celsius across vast regions, continent-sized wildfires raged, and massive ice sheets began an accelerated melt, leading to unprecedented floods. The whispers of meltwater echoed across the globe. This 300-year deep freeze, the Younger Dryas stadial, interrupted a period of rapid warming after the last ice age, reshaping the planet and potentially erasing the footprints of any advanced cultures that thrived in the warmer epochs. What if Göbekli Tepe isn't the beginning asterisk of civilization, but a monumental effort by survivors asterisk of such an apocalypse? Perhaps a sanctuary built to preserve knowledge, or to commemorate a lost world. The site's intentional burial suggests a profound desire to protect something, or perhaps to hide it from a future generation ill-equipped to understand. As you stand before these silent sentinels, you wonder what catastrophic event compelled ancient hands to move mountains of stone, and what profound secrets they buried beneath the dust of ages. You feel the dry wind whisper across the Anatolian plateau as you walk among the ancient circles of Göbekli Tepe, the shadows of the megaliths lengthening with the advancing day. Here the sheer scale of the effort becomes more apparent. Imagine the labor. No draft animals known, no wheels, no complex metallurgy. Yet stone pillars, some twice your height, stand aligned, their surfaces adorned with intricate carvings of animal totems and abstract symbols that resonate with a powerful, forgotten cosmology. Mainstream archaeology often attributes this astonishing feat to highly organized, but still Neolithic, hunter-gatherer communities. You lean in, examining the precise flaking marks on the colossal stones, evidence of patient, skilled stonemasonry. How did such groups, typically focused on daily survival, mobilize thousands to quarry, transport, and intricately carve these massive structures? The conventional narrative suggests a sudden, unprecedented surge of societal complexity. But what if the story is far more intricate, woven from threads of both destruction and preservation? Consider the context. Göbekli Tepe arose at the cusp of, or even during, the Younger Dryas cold snap. Geological evidence suggests that a cosmic impact around 12,800 years ago plunged the planet into chaos. This event may have triggered continent-sized wildfires, dramatic glacial ice sheet collapse, and a catastrophic climate reversal, plummeting temperatures 15 degrees Celsius in mere decades. Imagine advanced human societies, perhaps thriving during the relatively warm period just before this cataclysm, suddenly facing global fires, floods, and a 1-300-year deep freeze. What if the hunter-gatherers of Göbekli Tepe were not solely inventing civilization from scratch, but rather were survivors, guardians of a fragmented knowledge, rebuilding from a more technologically sophisticated past? The sheer sophistication of this site, predating agriculture and pottery, challenges the notion of linear human progress. You ponder the astronomical alignments some researchers propose within these ancient stones, suggesting a knowledge of the cosmos far beyond what we typically associate with this era. Could these monuments be a cosmic clock, a warning, or perhaps a desperate attempt to record a global catastrophe for future generations? The questions echo in the vast silence, hinting at a human history far older and more profound than we currently allow ourselves to imagine. You plunge beneath the warm turquoise waters off the coast of Yonaguni Island, Japan, the sunlight dappling through the clear depths. Before you, a monumental structure emerges from the ocean floor, a vast, stepped pyramid, its sheer faces and sharp angles almost defying belief. This is the Yonaguni Monument, an underwater enigma that stretches over 50 meters in length, with terraces, platforms, and perfectly right-angled features suggesting deliberate carving. The currents gently tug at you as you hover, tracing the impossible geometry with your eyes. Orthodox geology largely attributes these formations to natural processes, a spectacular example of erosion and tectonic activity shaping sandstone. You can certainly observe natural fractures and bedding planes within the rock. However, proponents of the artificial structure hypothesis, including marine geologist Masaaki Kimura, point to compelling details. Perfectly straight edges, 90-degree corners, vast flat surfaces, and what appear to be steps and carved pathways. You perceive features resembling a giant relief sculpture of an animal, and what some call stadium seating. These are not common attributes of natural rock formations. The crucial element to consider is sea level. Approximately 12,800 years ago, at the onset of the Younger Dryas, global sea levels were considerably lower, by as much as 120 meters. This monument, sitting currently at depths up to 25 meters, would have been above water during the pre-Younger Dryas period. Could this submerged complex be a relic from a sophisticated human society that existed before the catastrophic cosmic impact? The impact hypothesis suggests this event caused rapid glacial melt, massive flooding from meltwater, and a subsequent sea level rise that inundated coastal regions worldwide. What if civilizations flourished on coastlines, now lost beneath the waves? Yonaguni presents a tantalizing possibility. A massive structure, seemingly constructed with advanced planning, and perhaps even astronomical alignment, now submerged, a silent testament to a world transformed by cataclysm. You drift slowly around a massive, intricately cut block, feeling the cold, silent weight of ages, pondering the ingenuity of hands long turned to dust, or the astonishing artistry of nature itself. This submerged mystery challenges our understanding of human history, and invites us to consider what else lies hidden beneath the oceans. The hot desert wind whips sand around your ankles as you stand before the Great Sphinx of Giza. Its colossal form rising from the desert floor, its enigmatic gaze fixed on the eastern horizon. You feel the ancient limestone, pitted and worn, contemplating the deep furrows and undulating patterns that etch its enclosure walls. Mainstream archaeology firmly dates the Sphinx to the Old Kingdom, attributing its construction to Pharaoh Khafre around 400–500 years ago, alongside his pyramid. Its presence here is a testament to the power of early dynastic Egypt. Yet, a closer inspection of the weathering patterns sparks a profound question. Geologist Robert Schoch, among others, contends that the primary erosion visible on the Sphinx and its enclosure walls is not consistent with millennia of wind and sand, but rather with prolonged, heavy rainfall. You trace the deep, vertical fissures and rounded, undulating surfaces on the limestone, patterns distinctly different from the horizontal striations typically left by wind-blown sand. Such extensive water erosion would require a climate far wetter than Egypt has experienced in the last 8,000 years. This geological evidence suggests a much earlier origin, potentially pushing the Sphinx's construction back to the end of the last ice age, a period that aligns eerily with the Younger Dryas cataclysm. Imagine the landscape during that time, not the parched desert you see today, but a region capable of sustaining significant rainfall, perhaps fueled by the massive meltwater pulses following the glacial collapse. Around 12,800 years ago, a cosmic impact is hypothesized to have initiated a catastrophic climate reversal, leading to continent-sized wildfires and immense flooding as glacial ice sheets destabilized. Such a tumultuous period would have brought dramatic weather shifts, including sustained periods of torrential rain to regions like ancient Egypt. If the Sphinx predates dynastic Egypt by thousands of years, what does that imply about human civilization before the Younger Dryas? Could this monumental sculpture be a survivor, a silent witness to a lost, sophisticated culture that vanished in the flames and floods? Its precision and scale certainly suggest a developed society. While skeptics argue other factors might explain the weathering, proponents point to these anomalies demanding re-evaluation of our historical timeline. You feel the sun on your face, the wind carrying whispers of a hidden past, and wonder what other secrets the Sphinx's timeless gaze conceals about a world irrevocably changed by cataclysm. The crisp Andean air bites at your cheeks as you stand on the high plain overlooking Cusco. Before the monumental walls of Sacsayhuaman, sunlight glints off the massive, intricately fitted stones that form its lower ramparts. You feel the cool, rough texture of the grey limestone blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, seamlessly interlocking without mortar. The precision is breathtaking. You run your fingers along a joint and find it almost imperceptible. This cyclopean masonry, a hallmark of what some call polygonal or megalithic construction, defies easy explanation, even with modern tools. Mainstream archaeology attributes Sacsayhuaman, with its upper, smaller stonework, to the Inca Empire, built perhaps 500 to 600 years ago, as a fortress or ceremonial site. However, the foundational layers, with their colossal, perfectly fitted stones, present an enduring puzzle. These lower courses exhibit a construction style far more sophisticated and ancient-looking than typical Inca work. Some researchers, including Graham Hancock, suggest these foundations might be remnants of a much older civilization, later incorporated and built upon by the Inca. The Inca themselves attributed many such megalithic structures to a legendary, earlier race called the Viracocha. Consider the sheer engineering challenge. How were these enormous stones quarried, transported kilometers, and then lifted and shaped to fit so flawlessly? Modern estimates suggest such feats would require thousands of workers and advanced techniques. Yet conventional understanding of the pre-Inca Andean cultures does not include the tools or organizational capacity for such construction. This anomaly raises profound questions, especially when viewed through the lens of the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic impact around 12,800 years ago caused a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal, what would have survived? Perhaps only the most robust, precision-built structures. What if sophisticated human societies thrived in the Andes during the warm period before this event? Such a civilization could have possessed the knowledge and technology for precision megalithic construction, only to be largely erased by the subsequent 300-year deep freeze. The enduring foundations of Sacsayhuaman then become more than just ancient walls. They are a possible echo of a lost world, a testament to an earlier, perhaps forgotten, chapter of human ingenuity before the great cataclysm. You feel the silent power emanating from these impossible stones, sensing a deep, hidden history beneath your feet. The vast, shimmering desert floor stretches before you as you gaze up at the pyramids of Giza. Their immense scale, almost overwhelming. The sheer precision of their angles and alignments, particularly the Great Pyramid, has captivated observers for millennia. You feel the weight of history in the dry air, touching the massive, finely dressed limestone blocks that form the outer casing, now largely gone but still visible at the base. Mainstream Egyptology dates these pyramids to the 4th dynasty, around 400–500 years ago, built as tombs for pharaohs, and testament to the organizational power of early dynastic Egypt. Yet, a closer look reveals remarkable astronomical correlations that challenge the conventional narrative of primitive knowledge. Researchers like Robert Borval highlight the precise alignment of the 3 Giza pyramids with the 3 stars of Orion's belt. Crucially, this alignment is not exact for the pyramids' accepted construction date, but rather perfectly reflects the constellation's position as it appeared around 12,500 years ago. You contemplate the long, narrow shafts within the Great Pyramid, which point directly to specific stars, Orion and Sirius, key celestial bodies in ancient Egyptian cosmology, but again, precisely aligned to a much earlier epoch. What could explain such sophisticated astronomical knowledge, seemingly encoded into structures whose official dating post-dates the celestial alignments by thousands of years? This temporal discrepancy opens a door to the possibility that these alignments are a legacy from a far older, more advanced civilization. The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis offers a compelling framework for this idea. If a cosmic impact around 12,800 years ago caused a global cataclysm, wiping out advanced cultures, what survived? Perhaps not cities, but knowledge, encoded in enduring monuments. Imagine a sophisticated society existing before this event, possessing advanced astronomical understanding. When disaster struck, massive floods from meltwater, continent-sized wildfires, a sudden climate reversal, they might have sought to preserve their most vital knowledge. Building enduring structures, aligned to cosmic clocks, could have been their way of passing down a warning, a message across the vast gulf of catastrophe. The Giza pyramids, with their impossible precision and ancient stellar maps, could be such a message in stone, a silent echo of a forgotten age when humans looked up at the same stars and understood their profound movements with a wisdom we are only now beginning to rediscover. The dawn light paints the desert in hues of gold and ochre as you ascend, gazing down upon the vast, arid plain of Nazca, Peru. Below, etched into the rust-colored earth, are the enigmatic Nazca lines, hundreds of colossal geoglyphs depicting animals, geometric shapes, and long straight lines stretching for miles. You feel a sense of awe as the intricate designs, invisible from the ground, fully reveal themselves from this vantage point. The hummingbird, the spider, the monkey, each a marvel of ancient artistry and engineering. Mainstream archaeology attributes these monumental artworks to the Nazca culture, who flourished in this region between 200 BCE and 600 CE. It is believed they were created for religious or astronomical purposes, perhaps as pathways for ceremonial processions or as giant calendars. You consider the painstaking process, removing the dark surface rocks to reveal the lighter soil beneath, maintaining scale and proportion over vast distances without an aerial perspective. This alone speaks to incredible organization and ingenuity. However, the sheer scale and the necessity of aerial viewing provoke deeper questions. What if their purpose extended beyond mere ceremony or calendar keeping? Some researchers, including Maria Reicher, who dedicated her life to studying the lines, suggested astronomical functions, but others propose a link to older lost knowledge. Could some of these geoglyphs be far older, perhaps surviving from a civilization preceding the Younger Dryas catastrophe? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis posits a cosmic collision 800 years ago, triggering a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal. This event could have wiped out advanced societies, leaving only fragments of their legacy. What if the Nazca lines are not solely the product of the Nazca culture, but rather an echo of earlier, more advanced astronomical or cartographical knowledge preserved and reinterpreted? If civilizations existed that possessed sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics, they might have created such enduring markers. These massive ground etchings, aligned to celestial events or marking ancient pathways, could be a desperate attempt to record critical information, visible from above, meant to survive a global deluge and climatic upheaval. As you hover above this immense outdoor gallery, you are left to wonder about the eyes that conceived these designs, eyes that perhaps sought to communicate across the eons, warning future generations of a lost world. The chill of a winter solstice morning wraps around you as you stand before the massive mound of Newgrange in Ireland, feeling the ancient cold emanating from its earth and stone. This prehistoric passage tomb, radiocarbon dated to approximately 3200 BCE, is a masterpiece of Neolithic engineering. You run your hand over the giant curbstones, intricately carved with spirals and lozenges, sensing the profound artistry of its builders. Mainstream archaeology tells us Newgrange was built by Stone Age farmers, a ceremonial and burial site, aligned with the rising sun of the winter solstice. As the sun begins its ascent on this shortest day, you enter the long, narrow passage, the air growing heavy and still. You walk deeper into the earth, feeling the weight of millennia above you. Then, a miracle of ancient engineering. A beam of golden light pierces the darkness through a perfectly aligned roof box above the entrance, slowly illuminating the chamber's rear. This precise astronomical alignment, maintaining accuracy for thousands of years, speaks of an astonishing understanding of celestial mechanics. It implies a sophisticated grasp of the Sun's annual cycle and the Earth's orbital path, far beyond what is typically attributed to early agricultural societies. But what if this profound knowledge isn't merely the peak of Neolithic achievement, but a legacy, a fragment of wisdom, preserved from a much older, lost civilization? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis suggests a cosmic collision, 800 years ago, triggered a global cataclysm, a 300-year deep freeze, massive floods, and continent-sized wildfires. This event, interrupting the warming trend after the Ice Age, may have erased sophisticated human societies that thrived during the preceding interglacial period. Consider the possibility that the builders of Newgrange inherited this astronomical blueprint, passing down critical knowledge through generations of survivors. Such monuments, enduring through millennia, could have served as cosmic clocks, navigational aids, or even warnings. Why does such precise celestial alignment appear globally in various ancient structures? Newgrange, with its enduring connection to the winter solstice sun, offers a powerful contemplative echo of a time when the heavens held profound and perhaps forgotten messages for humanity, a silent testament to a world irrevocably altered by catastrophe, where agriculture and civilization suddenly appear after the Younger Dryas, as if knowledge was preserved. The vast, empty expanse of the Pacific Ocean stretches to the horizon as you stand on Rapa Nui, feeling the constant sea breeze on your face. Around you, the colossal Moai statues, many toppled or unfinished, lie scattered across the volcanic landscape. You gaze at their stoic faces, carved from volcanic tuff, some weighing over 75 tons, and marvel at the mystery of their creation and transport. How did the ancient Rapa Nui people, isolated on this remote island, achieve such monumental feats of engineering with seemingly rudimentary tools? Mainstream archaeology dates the Moai construction to between 1250 and 1500 CE, attributing their decline to resource depletion and societal collapse. The prevailing theory suggests that the islanders cut down all their trees to transport and erect these statues, leading to an ecological disaster. You can see the evidence of quarrying at Rano Rereku, where hundreds of unfinished moai remain embedded in the rock, as if work suddenly stopped. Yet a persistent question lingers. Could some of these structures, or the knowledge to create them, be far older, perhaps surviving echoes of a more ancient past? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis invites us to consider the possibility that sophisticated human societies thrived before the cosmic impact of 12,800 years ago, only to be catastrophically erased by global cataclysms. Massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal that plunged the world into a 1,300-year deep freeze. What if the initial settlers of Rapa Nui carried with them a fragmented legacy of advanced building techniques, or astronomical knowledge from a forgotten predecessor civilization? While the Moai themselves are not dated to the Younger Dryas, their sheer megalithic scale and the profound mystery of their transportation resonate with similar enigmas across the globe. Could the ecological collapse narrative be influenced by a lack of understanding of a potential earlier human presence on the island, a history lost to the catastrophic sea level changes and environmental upheavals following the Younger Dryas event? As you stand surrounded by these silent giants, facing the endless ocean, you sense a deeper, more tragic story embedded in their stone, a silent question about humanity's capacity to rise and to fall across the vast canvas of prehistory. You stand on the deck of a research vessel in the North Sea, the wind carrying the scent of salt and distant rain. Below, sonar scans reveal a submerged landscape, a vast ancient landmass known as Doggerland, now lost beneath the waves. You imagine it as it once was, a fertile plain connecting Britain to mainland Europe, teeming with life, crisscrossed by rivers, and inhabited by Mesolithic hunter-gatherers. Marine archaeology, often accidental, has yielded artifacts like tools, bones, and even fossilized human footprints from these sunken lands, providing glimpses into a vibrant prehistoric existence. Mainstream archaeology meticulously pieces together the picture of these early Europeans, adapting to the rich, dynamic environments of Doggerland during the last glacial period. Yet, the story of its submersion is profoundly intertwined with the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. Around 12,800 years ago, a cosmic collision is proposed to have triggered a global cataclysm, a sudden climate reversal, and crucially, massive glacial ice sheet collapse. This led to rapid meltwater pulse events, causing global sea levels to rise dramatically and irreversibly inundating vast coastal plains like Doggerland. You consider the profound implications. If Doggerland was once a thriving populated land, what happened to its inhabitants when the waters rose? What knowledge, what advancements, what cultural complexity was swept away by the rising tides? The disappearance of entire landmasses challenges our perception of human history, reminding us that much of our past now lies hidden, inaccessible beneath the oceans. We know that 200-plus cultures globally recount remarkably similar flood myths, describing an apocalyptic deluge in the same time frame as these meltwater pulses. Could these not be mere coincidences, but collective memories of a shared, catastrophic global event? The scientific detective story of Doggerland involves piecing together fragments from the deep, submerged riverbeds, traces of settlements, evidence of human activity now found on the seabed. It asks us to consider what was lost when the Earth itself underwent a catastrophic transformation. What if civilizations, perhaps not megalithic in scale like Göbekli Tepe, but certainly sophisticated in their understanding of their environment, thrived in these now lost coastal regions. Their existence erased by fire and flood, their stories consigned to the silence of the deep, leaving only geological evidence and the echoes of ancient myths. The raw, untamed beauty of the Scottish Highlands stretches around you, the wind carrying the scent of heather and damp earth. You stand before the remnants of a hill fort, its stone walls scarred and blackened. As you approach, you run your hand across a section of the stone, feeling a distinctly glassy, vitrified texture. This isn't just fire damage. Here the rock has been fused, melted at temperatures exceeding 100 degrees Celsius, transforming it into a hard ceramic-like material. These vitrified forts are found across Scotland, Ireland, and continental Europe, presenting a profound archaeological puzzle. Mainstream archaeological explanations for vitrification typically involve deliberate burning, where intense heat from massive timber structures or bonfires was applied to stone walls, perhaps as a defensive strategy or a method to strengthen fortifications. This process would require immense, sustained heat, and its effectiveness as a construction technique is debated. You gaze at the sheer scale of the vitrification, wondering about the purpose and the destructive power behind it. Yet, an alternative, more catastrophic interpretation emerges when considering the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. Around 800 years ago, a cosmic collision is proposed to have triggered a global cataclysm, including continent-sized wildfires of unprecedented intensity. Imagine the atmospheric temperatures generated by such widespread conflagrations. The black matte layer found across North America, rich in carbon spherules, nanodiamonds, and other impact markers, bears testament to such an event, suggesting widespread fires across an entire continent. Impact markers have been found globally, indicating a truly worldwide catastrophe. Could the vitrified forts be evidence not of intentional human construction with fire, but of structures caught in a global inferno of cosmic origin? What if these ancient fortifications were not designed to be vitrified, but simply survived, albeit scarred, a period when temperatures soared to unimaginable levels? The Younger Dryas impact event led to a sudden climate reversal, plunging temperatures 15 degrees Celsius in decades, massive flooding, and a 300-year deep freeze. For a time, however, a global firestorm may have engulfed vast swathes of the planet. These vitrified walls stand as silent, glassy witnesses, hinting at a forgotten epoch of fiery destruction, urging us to question whether they survived a deliberate human act or a cosmic catastrophe. The cool, damp air immediately envelops you as you descend into the subterranean city of Derinkuyu in Cappadocia, Turkey. You navigate narrow, hand-carved passages, each turn leading deeper into the earth, revealing vast chambers, stables, wineries, and ventilation shafts that plunge hundreds of feet. This colossal underground complex, capable of housing tens of thousands of people along with their livestock and food supplies, extends for at least 18 levels beneath the surface. You run your hand over the soft volcanic tufa rock, worn smooth by countless hands over millennia. Mainstream archaeology dates Derinkuyu's expansion and primary use to Byzantine times, around the 7th to 12th centuries CE, built as a refuge from Arab-Byzantine wars. However, evidence suggests earlier phases of construction, with some researchers positing origins as far back as the Phrygians, around 800–700 BCE. You notice the immense stone rolling doors, designed to seal off passages, and the ingenious ventilation system that ensures fresh air even at the lowest levels, a testament to sophisticated engineering. The sheer scale and defensive nature of Derinkuyu beg a profound question. What kind of threat would compel a civilization to build such an extensive, self-sufficient city underground? While later invasions certainly provided motivation, the magnitude of the effort suggests a more fundamental, existential fear. This leads us to contemplate the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision around 12,800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, continent-sized wildfires, plummeting temperatures, 15 degrees Celsius in decades, massive flooding from meltwater, and a 1-300-year deep freeze, what would survivors do? They would seek shelter, perhaps precisely like Derinkuyu. What if these subterranean cities, found in various forms across the globe, are not solely responses to conventional warfare, but rather a desperate attempt to survive an environmental apocalypse? Imagine the immediate aftermath of a cosmic impact, widespread devastation, a global firestorm, and a sudden onset of extreme cold. Going underground would have been a viable, perhaps the only survival strategy. Could the earliest phases of Derinkuyu, perhaps much older than currently accepted, represent a sanctuary for those who remembered the devastation of the Younger Dryas, a place to preserve knowledge and culture until the surface became habitable again? As you stand in the silent depths, the cool air presses in, and you wonder about the ancient fears and incredible resilience that drove humans to carve entire cities from the living rock, seeking refuge from a world gone mad. The hot Egyptian sun beats down as you stand in the ancient granite quarries of Aswan, gazing into the vast bedrock where the unfinished obelisk lies embedded. This colossal monolith, if completed, would have been over 40 meters tall and weighed an astonishing 200 tons. You run your hand over its smooth, unreleased surface, contemplating the immense scale of the intended project and the abrupt halt in its production. Cracks visible along its length suggest why it was abandoned, but the effort to carve it remains staggering. Mainstream Egyptology dates the unfinished obelisk to the reign of Queen Hatshepsut around the 15th century BCE. Archaeologists explain its quarrying using a combination of dolerite pounders, wedges, and immense manual labor. You can almost hear the rhythmic chipping of tools, the shouts of thousands of workers, as you observe the deep, narrow trenches carved around the obelisk. This effort speaks to the remarkable engineering capabilities of dynastic Egypt. Yet a profound question surfaces: how could such an enormous stone be quarried and then moved without shattering it, especially given the density of granite? What if the techniques used were not as primitive as often assumed? Or what if the knowledge for such feats predates dynastic Egypt by millennia? The sheer scale of many Egyptian megaliths often sparks debate about the limits of their ascribed technology. This leads us to consider the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision around 12,800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, wiping out advanced civilizations, what remnants of their knowledge or techniques might have persisted? Agriculture and civilization appear suddenly after the Younger Dryas, as if knowledge was preserved, implying a discontinuity rather than a purely linear progression. Could the techniques necessary to manipulate such immense stones have been a legacy passed down from a pre-cataclysmic civilization, adapted and re-employed by later cultures like the dynastic Egyptians? The unfinished obelisk, frozen in time, represents a tantalizing glimpse into a lost craft, a technological how that remains largely unexplained by conventional narratives. It stands as a monument to both an ancient vision and a possible forgotten ingenuity, hinting at a world where colossal feats of engineering were more commonplace, perhaps before the Great Fire and Flood. The sheer magnitude of the Roman temple complex at Baalbek, Lebanon, is breathtaking as you walk across its vast courtyard. You feel the warm stone beneath your feet, dwarfed by the remaining Corinthian columns that soar skyward. Yet, it is not the Roman superstructure that truly commands attention, but the colossal, underlying foundation. Here, embedded within the Roman platform, are megalithic blocks of stone unlike anything else. You trace the lines of the trilithon, 3 stones, each weighing an estimated 800 to 1,000 tons, perfectly fitted together. You try to slide a sheet of paper between them. It's impossible. Mainstream archaeology credits the Romans with the entire construction, arguing that their advanced engineering, including cranes and roller systems, allowed them to maneuver these immense stones. You can appreciate the Romans' impressive capabilities, but the scale of the trilithon, and another nearby block known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, weighing over 1,000 tons, remains an engineering marvel that even modern technology struggles to replicate with ease. The precision with which these multi-ton blocks are cut and placed beggars belief for their accepted construction era. This profound mystery invites us to look beyond conventional timelines. What if these deepest, most colossal foundations predate the Roman presence, serving as remnants of a far older, unknown civilization? The local legends speak of giants, or a divine race constructing these foundations in an unimaginably distant past. Indigenous oral traditions describe a great flood wiping out early inhabitants, correlating eerily with the global meltwater pulse events during the Younger Dryas. The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis posits a cosmic collision 800 years ago, triggering a global cataclysm of massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal. What would survive such an event? Perhaps only the most robust precision-built structures designed to withstand immense forces. If advanced civilizations existed before this impact, their most enduring works, like the megalithic platform at Baalbek, might have served as foundations for later cultures. Could the precision megalithic construction here be a forgotten legacy, a testament to a world transformed by catastrophe, where an earlier sophisticated culture encoded its knowledge in stone to defy obliteration? As you stand before these impossible stones, you feel the profound weight of forgotten history, silently challenging our understanding of human capabilities in prehistory. The warm night air of the Yucatan Peninsula is still and thick with the scent of ancient stone as you stand before El Castillo, the primary pyramid at Chichen Itza. Above, the clear, star-dusted sky is a breathtaking canopy. Mainstream archaeology attributes Chichen Itza and its sophisticated astronomical alignments to the Maya civilization, flourishing between roughly 600 and 1200 CE. You trace the intricate carvings on the stone, contemplating the brilliant minds that designed this structure to interact so precisely with celestial events. The pyramid is a monumental calendar designed to cast a serpent's shadow during the equinoxes. The Caracol, a nearby observatory, aligns with the extreme positions of Venus. You can feel the mathematical precision encoded in these structures, reflecting a deep understanding of cycles of time, planetary movements, and cosmic phenomena. This astronomical knowledge is undeniably impressive, but what if it speaks to a legacy far older than the Maya themselves? Consider the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. A cosmic collision 800 years ago, triggering a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal. What if sophisticated human societies thrived before this event, possessing advanced astronomical knowledge, and were catastrophically erased? The appearance of agriculture and civilization seemingly, suddenly, after the Younger Dryas, as if knowledge was preserved and then reapplied, is a curious fact. Could the advanced astronomical knowledge demonstrated at Chichen Itza be a direct inheritance or a rediscovery of wisdom from a pre-Younger Dryas civilization? What if the survivors of this global cataclysm encoded critical warnings or fundamental scientific understanding into monuments and oral traditions, hoping to preserve it for future generations? The Maya, with their profound interest in cosmic cycles, might have been heirs to such a legacy, painstakingly reconstructing and re-embodying this ancient knowledge in their architecture. As you gaze up at the stars above Chichen Itza, feeling the silent hum of ancient wisdom in the air, you wonder about the cosmic clocks that align not just to the Maya, but to a deeper, more profound timeline of human understanding and a world that was reborn from fire and flood. The vast, desolate expanse of the Sahara Desert stretches beneath you as you fly over Mauritania. And then, an astonishing sight emerges. The Richat structure, often called the Eye of the Sahara. It's a colossal geological formation, nearly 50 kilometers in diameter, comprising a series of concentric rings and domes that ripple across the desert floor. You gaze down at its immense, almost perfect circularity, feeling a sense of profound wonder at its scale and precise geometry. Mainstream geology classifies the Richat structure as a deeply eroded domal uplift, a symmetrical anticline formed by the uplifting of deeply buried rock layers. Over time, erosion has carved away the softer rock, revealing the harder concentric rings. This process is understood as entirely natural, a testament to geological forces. You can see the various rock strata, clearly visible from above, representing different geological eras. However, the Richat structure's striking resemblance to Plato's description of the lost city of Atlantis, a city of concentric rings of land and water, surrounded by mountains and open to the sea on one side, has captured the imagination of alternative researchers. While there's no archaeological evidence of human settlement on that scale, the geological features invite contemplation. Consider the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision around 800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, including massive floods and sea level changes, what might have once been a coastal region could now be a desert. The Sahara was once a green, fertile land, particularly during the African humid period, which began around 500 years ago, and ended around 5,000 years ago. Before the Younger Dryas, a thriving environment could have existed there. What if sophisticated human societies thrived during that warm, wet period and were catastrophically erased by the impact and subsequent climate reversal? Could the Richat structure, even if a natural formation, have once been utilized or adapted by an advanced civilization, perhaps as a giant harbor, a ceremonial site or a navigational marker, before it was swallowed by the desertification process that followed the Younger Dryas stadial? The scientific detective story here grapples with the interplay of geology, climate, and the tantalizing possibility of a forgotten past. As you hover over this magnificent eye, you're left to wonder if its silent rings hold a secret about a civilization lost to fire, flood, and shifting sands, a profound question etched into the very face of the earth. The oppressive heat of the Sind Desert hangs heavy in the air as you wander through the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro, a once flourishing city of the Indus Valley civilization. You stand by the Great Bath. Its meticulously brick-lined walls and waterproof bitumen layers a testament to advanced engineering and urban planning, dating to around 2500 BCE. You feel the smooth, ancient bricks beneath your hand, marveling at the standardized street grids, sophisticated drainage systems, and multi-storied houses that suggest a highly organized, prosperous society. Mainstream archaeology explains the eventual decline of Mohenjo-Daro and the broader Indus Valley civilization through a combination of factors: shifts in river courses, deforestation, and possibly invasion. Yet, the abandonment of such a highly developed urban center, seemingly without clear reasons for a rapid decline, leaves many questions unanswered. You consider the massacre layer, skeletal remains found scattered, not buried, suggesting a sudden, violent end for some inhabitants, though this is debated. But what if the seeds of this decline, or the memory of even greater catastrophe, lay much further back in time? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis posits a cosmic collision 800 years ago, triggering a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden, 300-year deep freeze. This environmental catastrophe interrupted warming after the Ice Age, reshaping the planet and potentially wiping out advanced prehistoric civilizations. Could the sophistication of Mohenjo-Daro, which appears relatively suddenly in the archaeological record, be a flourishing re-establishment of civilization, perhaps by descendants of survivors from a pre-Younger Dryas advanced culture. The city's advanced hydraulic engineering and urban planning suggest a deep understanding of environmental challenges, perhaps born from a collective memory of past cataclysms. The worldwide flood myths, shared by over 200 cultures, correlate eerily with the timing of the Younger Dryas meltwater pulse. What if the Indus Valley people and other early civilizations were rebuilding on the ashes of an even more ancient world? A world erased by fire and flood. As you gaze into the dry basin of the Great Bath, imagining its ancient waters, you sense the echoes of a profound past, a narrative of human ingenuity and catastrophic loss that still whispers through the sands of time. The chill Andean breeze sweeps through the sacred valley as you ascend the terraces of Ollantaytambo, a monumental Inca fortress and ceremonial site. You stand before the formidable Wall of the Six Monoliths, where massive reddish-pink porphyry blocks, some weighing over 50 tons, stand shoulder to shoulder, meticulously carved and fitted. You run your hand along the incredibly smooth, almost polished surfaces, marveling at the precision. These stones, quarried from a mountainside several kilometers away and across a river, speak of a profound engineering challenge. Mainstream archaeology attributes these colossal structures, like those at Sacsayhuaman, to the Inca Empire, constructed around the 15th century. Explanations involve immense manpower, ropes, ramps, and the careful shaping of stone using harder rocks. You can envision the incredible labor, but the precise fitting and the movement of such immense stones up a steep mountainside remain a subject of awe and debate among engineers and archaeologists alike. Yet a recurring pattern emerges. The earliest, most megalithic layers often display an unparalleled level of precision. What if these deepest, most impressive sections of Ollantaytambo, like similar sites across the Andes, belong to a much older construction epoch, predating the Inca? Indigenous Andean oral traditions speak of a golden age before a great deluge, of master builders using a forgotten technology. This brings us back to the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision 800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, massive floods from meltwater, continent-sized wildfires, and a 300-year deep freeze, what sophisticated human societies might have thrived during the warmer period before this event? And what traces would they leave behind that could survive such an apocalypse? Precision megalithic construction, designed to withstand immense environmental forces, might be one such legacy. Could the foundations of Ollantaytambo be remnants of a pre-Younger Dryas civilization, its advanced knowledge and techniques partially preserved and later adopted or reinterpreted by cultures like the Inca? These walls guarding the sacred valley stand as silent sentinels, enduring through millennia. They prompt us to consider how we find evidence of civilizations erased by fire and flood, and what survives a global cataclysm. As you gaze at the colossal stones, etched by time and mystery, you wonder if they are not just walls, but a profound and enduring testament to a lost world, its echoes resonating through the mountains. The humid jungle air hangs heavy around you as you wander through the sprawling galleries of Angkor Wat, Cambodia, its weathered sandstone carvings coming alive in the dappled light. You trace the intricate bas-reliefs depicting Hindu myths, historical events, and celestial beings. This monumental temple complex, dating primarily to the 12th century, is a masterpiece of Khmer architecture, a testament to a powerful empire and profound spiritual devotion. Mainstream archaeology attributes the construction of Angkor Wat to the Khmer Empire, reaching its zenith under King Suryavarman II. The vast scale, sophisticated hydrology, including an enormous surrounding moat, and incredible artistry were products of a highly organized and advanced society. You feel the cool, carved stone beneath your hand, marveling at the sheer number of skilled artisans and laborers required to create such a complex. Yet, A recurring theme among these ancient sites is the embedded astronomical knowledge. Angkor Wat itself possesses remarkable alignments. Some researchers suggest it mirrors the constellation Draco at a specific point in time, and its layout is thought by some to reflect the movements of celestial bodies. While these alignments are typically dated to the Khmer period, the question arises, is this a wholly indigenous invention, or a continuation of an older, perhaps forgotten, wisdom? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis invites us to contemplate, what if sophisticated human societies thrived before the cosmic collision of 800 years ago, possessing advanced astronomical understanding, only to be catastrophically erased? The global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, a sudden climate reversal, would have destroyed much, but critical knowledge might have been preserved. Could the advanced astronomical and engineering prowess displayed at Angkor Wat be a legacy, or a rediscovery, of fragments of knowledge passed down from a pre-Younger Dryas civilization? What if the survivors, or their descendants, carried warnings encoded in myths and celestial observations, hoping to guide future generations? Angkor Wat, with its intricate cosmic symbolism and enduring stone, stands as a silent testament to cycles of creation and destruction, echoing a time when humanity perhaps understood the profound forces shaping our planet and our history. The jungle whispers secrets, and you wonder how many times civilization has risen and fallen, its knowledge hidden within enduring monuments. The cool, silent air of the Hal Saflieni Hypogeum in Malta presses in around you as you descend into its labyrinthine depths. This extraordinary subterranean complex, carved into limestone, dates back to approximately 4,500 BCE. You run your hand over the smooth, ancient rock, noticing the remarkable precision of the carved chambers, some mimicking surface architecture, with corbelled ceilings and finely dressed masonry. This site served as a necropolis and a temple, holding the remains of thousands, and featuring intricate acoustic properties. Mainstream archaeology attributes the hypogeum to the prehistoric temple builders of Malta, a sophisticated Neolithic culture known for their megalithic temples. The acoustic properties are considered either accidental or a byproduct of functional design. You can feel the unique resonance in certain chambers. A low male voice, for instance, can reportedly reverberate throughout the entire complex, creating an almost hypnotic effect. This deliberate manipulation of sound implies an astonishing understanding of acoustics and architecture. But what if this advanced acoustic and architectural knowledge isn't a singular invention of Neolithic Malta, but a fragment of a much older, more profound scientific understanding? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis asks us to consider the possibility that sophisticated human societies thrived before the cosmic collision of 800 years ago, possessing knowledge that was catastrophically erased by global cataclysms. The 300-year deep freeze, massive floods, and continent-sized wildfires would have shattered global cultures. What would survivors do if they knew another impact was coming? Exactly what ancient myths describe them doing: seeking shelter and preserving knowledge. Could the hypogeum, with its deep protective chambers and sophisticated acoustic design, be a legacy of such a time, or a profound reimagining of a forgotten earlier purpose? Perhaps its acoustic properties were not just for ceremonial chanting, but for some forgotten form of communication, a way to focus thought or preserve wisdom in a world that remembered cataclysm. As you stand in its echoing silence, feeling the ancient hum, you wonder if these depths hold not just the dead but the echoes of a lost science, a desperate message from a forgotten epoch of human civilization. The thin, cold air of the Bolivian Altiplano chills you as you stand amidst the scattered, monumental ruins of Pumapunku, near Tiahuanaco. You gaze upon the massive, intricately carved stones, many weighing tens or even over 100 tons, lying as if thrown by some unimaginable force. Most striking are the H-blocks, perfectly uniform, modular pieces of andesite, carved with such precision that their internal and external angles are almost flawless right angles. You run your fingers along the smooth, hard stone, feeling the almost industrial-level exactitude. Mainstream archaeology attributes Pumapunku's construction to the Tiwanaku culture, dating to between 500 and 1000 CE. Explanations for the precision often involve sophisticated use of abrasive tools and an advanced understanding of geometry. However, the exact methods for achieving such perfectly flat surfaces and precise interlocking features in hard andesite, without visible tool marks or known metal tools capable of this work, remain debated. The nearest andesite quarry is miles away, across the flat plain. But what if the Tiwanaku builders were not the original creators of Pumapunku's precision, but rather inheritors, or reusers, of an older, more sophisticated legacy? Indigenous oral traditions in the Andes speak of a time of creation before a great flood, where the site was built by a divine race or beings with advanced knowledge. This narrative aligns remarkably with the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. A cosmic collision around 12,800 years ago is theorized to have triggered a global cataclysm, massive floods from meltwater, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden one, 300-year deep freeze. The Altiplano itself shows geological evidence of a massive flood event in its ancient past. What if sophisticated human societies thrived during the warmer period before this impact, possessing advanced engineering capable of creating these impossible stones? Pumapunku's scattered state could be a result of such a cataclysmic event, its precision construction enduring where other, less robust structures would have been utterly destroyed. The H-blocks, with their interlocking features, speak of modular design, perhaps intended for assembly or repair by a culture that truly mastered stone. Could this site be a testament to a world transformed, a blueprint from a forgotten era of human ingenuity, encoded in hard stone to survive the fires and floods? As you contemplate the scattered, precise fragments of Pumapunku, you are left to wonder what knowledge was lost, and what warnings remain, from a civilization erased by a cosmic force, its legacy hinting at a human history far longer and more tragic than we typically imagine. The dry, dusty air of Peru's Supe Valley carries faint echoes of a forgotten past as you stand before the ancient pyramids of Caral. You gaze upon these monumental earthen structures, some reaching heights of 60 feet, arranged around plazas and residential buildings. Caral Supe, dating back to approximately 2600 BCE, is recognized as the oldest known civilization in the Americas, flourishing in a period often called the pre-ceramic. You can feel the age emanating from the carefully placed stones and woven fiber bags, or shikra used in their construction. Mainstream archaeology credits the Norte Chico civilization, with Caral's advanced urban planning, sophisticated irrigation, and ceremonial architecture. The city's growth is explained by the development of maritime resources and agricultural practices, leading to a complex, hierarchical society. You observe the precise layout, the astronomical alignments of certain structures, and the evidence of a thriving culture that predates the Olmec by over a millennium. Yet a profound question arises. How does such a sophisticated civilization appear seemingly somptuous ex nihilo? Caral Supe's sudden emergence with fully developed urbanism, without clear precursor stages, challenges the linear progression of cultural development we often assume. Could this be more than an isolated phenomenon? This leads us to consider the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision 12,800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal, what if sophisticated human societies thrived during the warmer period before this event, and were catastrophically erased? The 300-year deep freeze, known as the Younger Dryas stadial, would have interrupted the trajectory of any advanced culture. What if Karalsupe represents not a first civilization, but a first rebuilding asterisk, after such an apocalypse? Agriculture and civilization appear suddenly after the Younger Dryas in many regions, as if knowledge was preserved and then reapplied by survivors. The precision and advanced planning seen at Karal might be an echo, a re-emergence of principles from a lost age, rather than an entirely new invention. The silent pyramids of Karalsupe, standing testament to ancient urbanism, hint at a past more complex and resilient than we currently understand, inviting you to wonder how many times humanity has risen from the ashes of catastrophe to build anew. The vast plateau of Teotihuacan, Mexico, hums with an ancient energy as the setting sun casts long shadows over the colossal pyramids of the sun and moon. You stand on the Avenue of the Dead, its monumental scale stretching into the distance, flanked by pyramids, temples, and residential compounds. This ancient city, dating from around 100 BCE to 550 CE, was once the largest in the pre-Columbian Americas, its origins and eventual demise shrouded in mystery. Mainstream archaeology credits the Teotihuacanos, an unknown indigenous group, with building this highly planned city. Its precise urban layout, advanced astronomical alignments, and sophisticated engineering are seen as a peak of Mesoamerican civilization. You feel the massive, worn stones of the pyramids, contemplating the incredible effort required to construct them without metal tools. The Avenue of the Dead, for instance, is not truly aligned to a cardinal direction, but to a specific point on the western horizon, where the Pleiades star cluster set in ancient times. This profound astronomical and urban planning, seemingly emerging without clear predecessors, presents a fascinating puzzle. How did such a master plan come into being? And what if it speaks to a deeper, older lineage of knowledge? This leads us to the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision around 800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal, what if sophisticated human societies thrived before this event and were catastrophically erased? The 300-year deep freeze, the Younger Dryas stadial, would have profoundly disrupted any advanced culture. Could the precise alignments and urban sophistication of Teotihuacan be a legacy, a re-embodiment of principles from a pre-Younger Dryas civilization? What if survivors of this global cataclysm, or their descendants, carried fundamental knowledge about celestial mechanics and city planning, carefully preserving it through generations? The scale and enduring nature of Teotihuacan, rising mysteriously from the landscape, suggests a profound purpose, perhaps a remembrance of a lost world. As the last rays of sun illuminate the Avenue of the Dead, you wonder if this city is not just a testament to a Mesoamerican empire, but a subtle echo of an even more ancient, erased past. Its master plan, a silent warning encoded in stone. The vast, open plain of Salisbury, England, stretches around you, feeling the cool, damp air as you approach the iconic circle of Stonehenge. You gaze upon the massive sarsen stones, some weighing up to 50 tons, standing upright in solemn formation, their lintels perfectly balanced atop. Interspersed within this grand design are the smaller, yet still substantial, bluestones, transported from Preseli Hills in Wales, over 150 miles away. You can feel the quiet power radiating from these ancient stones, imagining the rituals that once took place here. Mainstream archaeology dates Stonehenge's construction in several phases, from approximately 3000 BCE to 2000 BCE, crediting Neolithic and Bronze Age peoples. The monument is widely believed to be an ancient observatory, precisely aligned with the summer solstice sunrise and winter solstice sunset. You appreciate the incredible effort involved in quarrying, transporting and erecting these stones, using only primitive tools and sheer manpower, a testament to the ingenuity of early agricultural societies. Yet, the bluestones present a particularly profound mystery. Their distant origin, and the incredible effort required to move them across land and water, beg the question of their significance. And what if the knowledge embedded within Stonehenge's alignments is older than its current configuration suggests? This leads us to the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision around 12,800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal, what if sophisticated human societies thrived before this event? What knowledge would they have sought to preserve? Astronomical alignments in 12,000-plus-year-old sites, like Göbekli Tepe, demonstrate a profound understanding of the cosmos far earlier than previously thought. Could the underlying principles of Stonehenge's astronomical purpose, or the veneration for specific types of stone like the bluestones, be a legacy passed down from a pre-Younger Dryas civilization? What if the Neolithic builders were re-erecting or redesigning a site whose original purpose, and some of its materials, dated back to an age of forgotten wisdom? The bluestones, known for their unique acoustic properties, might have held deeper significance for a civilization that experienced and remembered a cosmic upheaval. As you feel the subtle vibrations of Stonehenge, you wonder about the ancient knowledge lost, and then perhaps painstakingly recovered, by survivors seeking to understand their new world, a world dramatically reshaped by fire and flood. You glide through the cool, clear waters off the coast of Laconia, Greece, the sunlight shimmering down to reveal the remarkably preserved streets and buildings of Pavlopetri. This submerged city, dating back at least 5,000 years, is considered the oldest known sunken city in the world, with its precise layout of houses, courtyards and tombs still discernible beneath the waves. You trace the lines of ancient walls, feeling a profound sense of stepping back into a lost moment of time. Mainstream archaeology dates Pavlopetri's flourishing period from the late Neolithic to the Middle Bronze Age, suggesting it was gradually abandoned or submerged due to seismic activity or incremental sea level rise. You can visualize the bustling port town it once was, a hub of maritime trade and early civilization. Its discovery offers invaluable insight into the urban planning and societal complexity of early European cultures. Yet, its profound state of preservation and the nature of its submersion invite deeper questions, especially when considering the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. Around 12,800 years ago, a cosmic collision is proposed to have triggered a global cataclysm, including massive glacial ice sheet collapse and rapid meltwater pulse events. This led to a dramatic global sea level rise, inundating coastlines worldwide. While Pavlopetri's currently accepted age postdates the Younger Dryas, its very existence as a sunken urban center serves as a powerful reminder of how readily land can be claimed by the sea. What if there were countless other coastal cities, perhaps even more ancient, that thrived during the warmer period before the Younger Dryas, and were catastrophically erased by its associated sea level changes? Underwater structures found off coasts that were above water pre-Younger Dryas hint at this possibility. Pavlopetri, though younger, stands as a proxy for these lost possibilities. It teaches us how to find evidence of civilizations erased by flood, forcing us to consider what other sophisticated human societies might lie hidden beneath the world's oceans, direct victims of the global cataclysm and its aftermath. As you swim silently above its ancient streets, you are left to contemplate the vast, unexplored chapters of human history, swallowed by the rising waters, their stories now only whispers in the deep. The cool, dry air of the underground labyrinth of the Serapeum at Saqqara, Egypt, envelops you, as you descend into its vast, carved passages. You walk past alcoves containing enormous, highly polished sarcophagi, each cut from a single block of granite or diorite. These immense boxes, weighing up to 100 tons, are finished with an astounding precision. You run your hand along the surface, feeling its glass-like smoothness and perfectly flat planes. The corners are impossibly sharp, the interiors hollowed with baffling exactitude. Mainstream Egyptology dates the Serapeum to the New Kingdom around 1400 BCE as a burial place for sacred Apis bulls. Archaeologists suggest that copper tools, abrasive sands, and immense manual labor were used to carve and polish these boxes. However, the anomalous precision, measured to tolerances typically associated with modern machining, remains a profound puzzle. You observe the apparent lack of tool marks that would be expected from primitive methods, leading some to question how these were truly achieved. The sheer difficulty of this work, manipulating such hard stone with such perfection, prompts a deeper inquiry. What if the techniques used here are a legacy from an earlier, more technologically advanced civilization? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis offers a compelling framework for this possibility. If a cosmic collision 800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, destroying sophisticated human societies, what knowledge might have been painstakingly preserved or rediscovered by survivors? The sudden appearance of advanced construction techniques and precise engineering after the Younger Dryas, seen in sites like Göbekli Tepe, and then later in dynastic Egypt, suggests a discontinuity rather than a purely linear progression. What if the builders of the Serapeum inherited fragments of a lost science, a mastery of stone cutting and polishing, that defies our current understanding of their capabilities? The granite boxes, some found seemingly unused, could represent a repository of an ancient art, a method passed down through a forgotten lineage of master craftsmen who understood how to work stone with an impossible precision. As you stand in the silent, cool chambers, contemplating these perfect artifacts, you wonder if they are not just tombs, but a tangible echo of a lost world's technology, a testament to what humanity was capable of before the great fire and flood, knowledge that was tragically erased. The hushed quiet of a Cairo museum hall surrounds you as you gaze into glass display cases filled with artifacts from pre-dynastic Egypt, dating to before 3100 BCE. Among the crude pottery and early tools you notice a startling anomaly. Exquisitely crafted vases, bowls and plates made from incredibly hard stones like diorite, basalt and granite. You lean closer, marveling at their thin, symmetrical walls, perfectly smooth surfaces, and complex interior curves, some featuring narrow necks and wide bodies that appear almost impossible to carve without advanced turning technology. Mainstream archaeology attributes these objects to early Egyptian artisans, suggesting they were painstakingly shaped using abrasive sands, stone grinders, and immense patience. Yet, the precision and intricacy of some of these vessels, particularly those made from stones rated 6 or 7 on the Mohs hardness scale, harder than the copper tools typically ascribed to this period, present a profound puzzle. You contemplate the sheer technical mastery implied by these artifacts, a level of skill that seems to defy the conventional timeline of technological development. This anomalous craftsmanship prompts a deeper question. What if these objects are not simply the zenith of early dynastic craftsmanship, but fragments of a much older, lost technological tradition? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis asks us to consider the possibility that sophisticated human societies thrived before the cosmic collision of 800 years ago, possessing advanced knowledge and craftsmanship that was catastrophically erased. The global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, a sudden climate reversal, would have destroyed much, but not all. What if the survivors of this global upheaval carried with them a fragmented legacy, a trickle-down, of advanced skills that allowed later cultures to achieve feats that seem impossible for their era? The appearance of precision stone working in pre-dynastic Egypt, seemingly out of place in the archaeological record, could be one such echo. These enigmatic artifacts, found among simpler tools, challenge our linear understanding of human progress and hint at a profound loss of knowledge. As you stand in the quiet hall, surrounded by these silent, beautiful objects, you wonder what other secrets they hold about a human history, far longer and more tragic than we can currently imagine, a history scarred by fire and flood. The dry, thin air of the Colorado Plateau chills you as you stand on a high cliff, overlooking the intricate cliff dwellings of Mesa Verde. Below, nestled into vast alcoves, lie stunning multi-story structures of stone and mortar, built by the ancestral Puebloans between 600 and 1300 CE. You gaze at the incredible ingenuity of these people, creating complex villages like Cliff Palace and Spruce Tree House, perfectly adapted to their unique environment. You can almost hear the echoes of their lives within the silent stone. Mainstream archaeology suggests that environmental factors, primarily prolonged drought and resource depletion, led to the sudden abandonment of these incredible dwellings around the late 13th century. It is believed that the ancestral Puebloans migrated south, dispersing their culture. You contemplate the immense labor and social organization required to build such structures into the cliff face, an architectural marvel. Yet the abrupt and complete abandonment of such well-established and defensible communities prompts a deeper question. Was drought the sole catalyst? Or was there a deeper, perhaps older, memory of catastrophe that influenced their choices? The Anasazi, as they were formerly known, were masters of water conservation, suggesting they were resilient to climatic shifts. This leads us to consider the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision around 800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal, what if humanity carries a collective memory of such profound environmental upheaval? While Mesa Verde itself is much younger, the idea of populations being forced to relocate or adapt drastically due to sudden environmental shifts resonates powerfully with the Younger Dryas event. What if cultures, particularly those in North America, where the impact is hypothesized to have occurred, inherited warnings or strategies for survival from pre-Younger Dryas societies? The Clovis culture, which flourished just before the Younger Dryas, mysteriously disappeared around the same time as the megafauna extinction of 35 genera. Most of the cliff dwellings, offering protection from both weather extremes and potential cataclysmic events, represent a later adaptation of ancient survival wisdom. As you look out over the silent, empty windows of Mesa Verde, you wonder what deeper, unwritten history lies embedded in the landscape, a history of resilience and adaptation in the face of forces that might repeat themselves. The wild, bracing sea air of the Antrim coast invigorates you as you stand upon the incredible interlocking basalt columns of the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. Thousands of hexagonal pillars, perfectly formed and tightly packed, descend into the ocean, creating a natural walkway of impossible precision. You run your hand over the smooth, dark rock, feeling its cool, dense texture, marveling at the geometric regularity that seems more crafted than natural. Mainstream geology confidently explains the Giant's Causeway as a product of ancient volcanic activity. Around 50 to 60 million years ago, successive flows of molten basalt cooled rapidly, contracting and fracturing into these distinct polygonal columns. You can see the different heights and diameters of the columns, a testament to varying cooling rates. This is a powerful demonstration of Earth's natural forces at work. Yet, local folklore tells a different story, one of giants building a bridge to Scotland, a narrative echoing the universal human tendency to attribute the incomprehensible to superhuman agency. The sheer perfection of the hexagonal forms, often resembling intricately laid paving stones, does spark a momentary question: could this be more than just geology? While the causeway's geological age far predates any human civilization, its uncanny geometric precision invites a metaphorical contemplation in the context of the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision 800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, destroying advanced prehistoric civilizations, what would their legacy be? Perhaps not always monumental architecture, but possibly a profound understanding of natural phenomena, of sacred geometry, or even a different relationship with the Earth itself. What if humanity, in a pre-cataclysmic era, possessed a more intimate, sophisticated understanding of natural forces, perhaps even an ability to sculpt or guide natural processes in ways we no longer comprehend? This is, of course, a speculative thought, but the Giant's Causeway pushes the boundaries of what we accept as naturally formed. It challenges our perception of natural versus engineered perfection. As you feel the cold, hard geometry beneath your feet, you are left to ponder the thin line between natural wonder and ancient art, and the vast, unknown chapters of Earth's history that might contain stories of human ingenuity far beyond our current imagination, stories that survived the fires and floods in unexpected forms. The crisp, clear air of a Macedonian morning greets you as you stand atop the volcanic rock formations of Kokino, a site designated by NASA as one of the oldest astronomical observatories in the world. You gaze upon the carefully carved markers and rock-cut thrones, feeling the weight of over 800 years of human observation. Mainstream archaeology dates Kokino to the Bronze Age, around 1800 BCE, identifying it as a sophisticated celestial calendar used by local communities to track solstices, equinoxes, and lunar cycles for agricultural and ceremonial purposes. You observe the markers etched into the rock, which align precisely with various celestial events. Imagine the long nights spent observing the stars, meticulously charting their movements. This ancient ingenuity, seemingly born from early agricultural societies, speaks to a profound connection with the cosmos and the development of sophisticated observational astronomy. Yet, as with many sites exhibiting advanced astronomical knowledge, a deeper question emerges. Is this knowledge solely an independent invention of Bronze Age peoples, or does it echo a more ancient, perhaps universal, understanding? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis invites us to consider, what if sophisticated human societies thrived before the cosmic collision of 800 years ago, possessing advanced astronomical knowledge that was catastrophically erased? The global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, a sudden climate reversal, and one 300-year deep freeze would have shattered global cultures. What if survivors, or their descendants, carried warnings encoded in myths and celestial observations, hoping to preserve vital knowledge? The appearance of precision astronomy in various cultures after the Younger Dryas, like Göbekli Tepe's enigmatic carvings, 600 years old, suggests a pattern. Could sites like Kokino be a re-establishment or continuation of a legacy of cosmic understanding that survived the Younger Dryas event? As you stand among these ancient markers, looking out at the vast sky, you consider the possibility that these Bronze Age astronomers were not just observing their present, but were also connecting to a much older past, a time when humanity keenly understood the cyclical nature of cosmic threats. Kokino stands as a silent testament to enduring human curiosity and the profound questions that remain about the knowledge lost, and then painstakingly recovered, across the vast unfolding narrative of human history. The brackish air of the Black Sea washes over you as you stand on its eastern shores, contemplating the deep, ancient history of this enclosed body of water. Geological evidence suggests that around 800 years ago, at the onset of the Younger Dryas, the Black Sea was a freshwater lake, significantly smaller, and located hundreds of feet below its current level. You can almost feel the presence of a vast, fertile plain stretching out from this coastline, now submerged beneath the sea. Mainstream geology and oceanography propose that around 600 years ago, a catastrophic inundation occurred. Rising global sea levels, fueled by glacial melt, finally breached the Bosphorus Strait, causing the Mediterranean Sea to spill into the Black Sea basin with immense force. This event is believed to have submerged vast tracts of land, displacing early Neolithic communities and transforming the freshwater lake into a saltwater sea. Yet, this event, while much later than the Younger Dryas impact itself, resonates profoundly with its long-term consequences. The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis posits a cosmic collision 800 years ago, triggering a global cataclysm, including massive glacial ice sheet collapse and rapid meltwater pulse events. These processes contributed to the overall rise in sea levels that, centuries later, would lead to the Black Sea inundation. You contemplate the implications for any human societies that thrived on the fertile plains around the freshwater Black Sea. What if advanced prehistoric civilizations, or at least highly developed settlements, existed there during the warm period before the Younger Dryas? They would have been catastrophically erased, first by the climate reversal, and then by the relentless rise of the ocean. The worldwide flood myths, shared by over 200 cultures, correlate remarkably with these meltwater pulses and subsequent inundations. The Black Sea flood in particular is often linked to the biblical story of Noah. This region becomes a powerful example of how we find evidence of civilizations erased by flood. Underwater archaeology in the Black Sea has already begun to uncover ancient shorelines and potential settlement sites. What knowledge, what cultures were lost beneath these waves? As you stand on the salt-encrusted shores, feeling the vastness of the sea before you, you are left to wonder about the profound impact of rising waters, not just on geography, but on the very fabric of human history. The dense, humid air of the Costa Rican jungle envelops you as you push through the foliage, emerging into a clearing. Before you lie extraordinary stone spheres, perfectly round and varying in size from a few centimeters to over 2 meters in diameter, weighing up to 15 tons. You run your hand over the incredibly smooth, symmetrical surface of a large sphere, feeling its cool, dense granite. These spheres, numbering in the hundreds, are a profound archaeological mystery. Mainstream archaeology dates the spheres to between 200 BCE and 800 CE, attributing their creation to the Dikis culture. It's believed they were carved using a combination of heating and cooling, precise pecking with harder stones, and then painstaking polishing. Their exact purpose remains unknown, though theories range from astronomical markers, ceremonial objects or status symbols, to grave markers. You consider the immense labor and geometric understanding required to achieve such spherical perfection. Yet, the precise, almost machine-like roundness of many of these spheres, especially the largest ones, challenges the notion of primitive tools. How did an ancient culture achieve such geometric perfection and move these colossal objects through dense jungle terrain? The absence of clear quarry sites for all the spheres and the mystery surrounding their transportation invite deeper questions. This leads us to the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision 800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal, what if sophisticated human societies thrived before this event and were catastrophically erased? The 300-year deep freeze would have profoundly impacted any advanced culture. Could these spheres, or the knowledge required to create them, be a legacy passed down from a pre-Younger Dryas civilization? What if survivors, or their descendants, preserved fragments of advanced geometric or engineering knowledge, later reapplied in different cultural contexts? The precision megalithic construction seen globally, and the curious appearance of advanced techniques after the Younger Dryas, suggests a pattern. These enigmatic stone spheres, silent and perfectly formed, challenge our linear view of history. As you stand among them, feeling the jungle's breath, you wonder if they are not just local artifacts, but a profound and enduring echo of a lost world's mastery, a testament to knowledge that somehow survived the global cataclysm, subtly encoded in stone across the planet. The air inside the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid of Giza is thick and still as you stand before the enormous granite sarcophagus. Its lid is missing, its interior empty. You run your hand along the cool, smooth stone, feeling the inexplicable precision of its cut, even more baffling given it's harder than the surrounding limestone. This massive, meticulously carved box of red Aswan granite presents one of the pyramid's enduring mysteries. Where is the body, and what was its true purpose? Mainstream Egyptology identifies the sarcophagus as the burial place for Pharaoh Khufu, the builder of the Great Pyramid, around 400–500 years ago. Its emptiness is often attributed to ancient tomb robbers, who would have had to navigate the pyramid's intricate passages. Yet, the sarcophagus itself is too large to have been brought in through the existing passages. It must have been placed during construction. Its precise dimensions, its resonant qualities when struck, and the advanced craftsmanship of the hard granite continue to puzzle researchers who assume only primitive tools were available. This anomaly invites us to consider a more profound, alternative interpretation. What if the Great Pyramid, and by extension, this empty granite box, served a purpose far beyond a pharaoh's tomb? What if its builders, or the knowledge that inspired them, predate dynastic Egypt by millennia? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis posits a cosmic collision 12,800 years ago, triggering a global cataclysm that destroyed advanced prehistoric civilizations. Massive floods, continent-sized wildfires and a sudden 300-year deep freeze would have irrevocably altered the world. What if the Great Pyramid, with its celestial alignments and enduring structure, was a repository of knowledge, a cosmic clock, or a sanctuary built by survivors of such an event? Could the empty sarcophagus have been a vessel for something other than a body, perhaps a resonant chamber for ancient wisdom, or a cosmic reset marker? The precision of its manufacture, seemingly impossible for the accepted period, resonates with other anomalous artifacts suggesting a lost technology. As you gaze into the hollow granite, feeling the profound silence of the chamber, you wonder what forgotten secrets it once held, and what kind of knowledge was so vital that it needed to be preserved within the heart of the most enduring monument on Earth, a testament to a world transformed by fire and flood, and the profound wisdom that might have been tragically erased. The dry coastal air of Peru's Lurin Valley feels ancient as you approach the vast archaeological complex of Pachacamac. Here, on a rugged desert hill, lies a sprawling pre-Columbian city, home to temples, pyramids and palaces that housed various cultures over millennia. You walk among the adobe brick structures, feeling the subtle echoes of Inca, Wari and Lima civilizations. Most compelling, however, is the central oracle, dedicated to the Pachacamac creator deity, whose grottos and subterranean chambers were believed to speak the future. Mainstream archaeology traces the site's primary importance to the Inca period, 1400s–1532 CE, but acknowledges earlier cultures, with initial settlements around 200 CE. The oracle itself was revered, its pronouncements guiding rulers and pilgrims from across the Andes. You imagine the hushed reverence, the offerings, and the powerful influence this site once held. Yet, a profound question hovers over such ancient and revered sites. Why this specific location? And what if the sanctity and perhaps some of the underlying structures reach back further into an unrecorded past? The grottos of Pachacamac, mysterious caves and tunnels beneath the main temple, speak of hidden depths and unknown origins. This leads us to the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision 12,800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, massive floods from meltwater, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal, what if sophisticated human societies thrived before this event and were catastrophically erased? The 300-year deep freeze would have irrevocably reshaped the world. What if sacred sites like Pachacamac were chosen not just for their local significance, but because they offered natural protection or held a deeper, more ancient memory of a world transformed by catastrophe? The subterranean elements, the grottos, resonate with the theme of seeking refuge underground, a common thread in human history following cataclysms. Could the legends of the Pachacamac, a creator god often associated with earthquakes and a recreation after destruction, hold a distant, mythical echo of the Younger Dryas event? As you stand on the windswept hill, looking towards the Pacific, you wonder if this ancient oracle's lost voice once spoke of a truth far grander and more terrifying than we yet understand, a truth about the cycles of destruction and rebirth that shape human civilization. The thick, humid air of the Amazon rainforest presses around you as you kneel, examining a handful of the incredibly rich, dark earth known as terra creta, or black earth. Unlike the notoriously poor soils of the Amazon, these patches of anthropogenic soil, created by humans, are extraordinarily fertile and self-regenerating, thriving for thousands of years. You feel its granular, charcoal-rich texture, contemplating the ancient ingenuity that transformed infertile land into a sustainable agricultural paradise. Mainstream archaeology credits various indigenous Amazonian cultures, dating back at least 500 years, with developing terra preta. It's understood to be created by combining charcoal, pottery shards, compost, and other organic matter in a precise way. This represents a remarkable feat of agroengineering, allowing large populations to sustain themselves in a challenging environment. You appreciate the profound ecological knowledge these cultures possessed. Yet, a profound question persists. How did this complex, multi-component technique for soil enrichment originate, and why does it appear so widespread in a region often considered sparsely populated in ancient times? What if the knowledge for creating terra preta has even deeper roots? This leads us to the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision around 800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal, what if sophisticated human societies thrived in the Amazon during the warmer period before this event? The Amazon basin was significantly different during the last ice age, possibly drier in some areas, and with different river courses, but a warm period before the Younger Dryas could have supported advanced cultures. What if the development of terra preta represents a form of ancient knowledge, perhaps reapplied by survivors, after a period of immense environmental devastation? Faced with a profoundly altered and less productive world after the Younger Dryas, 300-year deep freeze, the ability to create fertile soil would have been invaluable for rebuilding civilization. This would represent a crucial adaptation, a practical application of preserved, perhaps orally transmitted, wisdom. Terra preta, a quiet testament to enduring human ingenuity, subtly challenges our understanding of the Amazon's ancient history and the true age of sophisticated land management, hinting at a world transformed by cataclysm and the desperate efforts of survivors to thrive anew. The narrow, winding canyon of the Sikh suddenly opens, revealing the breathtaking facade of Al-Khazne, the treasury, at Petra, Jordan. You stand awestruck before this monumental structure, carved directly into the pink sandstone cliff face, its intricate Hellenistic design rising over 40 meters high. You feel the cool, smooth stone, still bearing the precision of ancient chisels. The treasury, a marvel of rock-cut architecture, is just one of hundreds of tombs, temples and dwellings that make up the ancient Nabatean city of Petra. Mainstream archaeology dates the construction of the treasury to the 1st century CE, attributing it to the Nabatean Arabs, a prosperous trading civilization. It is believed to have been the tomb of a Nabatean king, though its exact function remains debated. You consider the extraordinary skill and planning required to carve such a grand facade downwards from the top of the cliff, a feat of reverse engineering. Yet, a profound question sometimes arises from the sheer scale and sudden appearance of such architectural sophistication in the historical record. While the Nabateans were certainly skilled, the question of inspiration and inherited knowledge persists. What if the very act of carving into solid rock, rather than building upwards, carried a deeper, more ancient significance? This leads us to the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. If a cosmic collision around 12,800 years ago triggered a global cataclysm, massive floods, continent-sized wildfires, and a sudden climate reversal, what if sophisticated human societies thrived before this event and were catastrophically erased? What would survivors do? They might seek refuge and build structures designed to endure the most devastating environmental forces. Carving into a cliff face like Petra offers remarkable resilience against surface devastation. Could the art of monumental rock-cut architecture in Petra and similar sites be a legacy, a reapplication of principles from a pre-Younger Dryas civilization that learned to build for permanence against overwhelming natural forces? What if the collective memory of a global cataclysm, of cities roused by fire and swept away by flood, influenced later cultures to create structures that were literally carved into the earth itself? As you gaze at the treasury, its lost purpose still shrouded in mystery, you wonder if its enduring stone holds not just the history of the Nabateans, but a profound, silent warning from a civilization that knew the true meaning of cosmic catastrophe. The salt-laced wind whips around you on the Orkney Islands, Scotland, as you descend into the ancient Neolithic village of Skara Brae. Its stone houses, remarkably preserved beneath sand dunes, date back to approximately 3180 BCE. You stand inside a dwelling, running your hand over the fitted stone beds, dressers and storage boxes, feeling the ingenious craftsmanship of a community living thousands of years ago. A central hearth, a focal point of ancient life, still defines the room. Mainstream archaeology credits these structures to a highly organized Neolithic farming and fishing community, suggesting that their unique architectural style was an adaptation to the harsh, treeless environment of Orkney.